Thank you. Services agreement. So we have worked with Nyhart. This will be our 6th year to collect data and prepare a comprehensive report based on the requirements of GASB 75, which officially have to do with our OPEB payments that we collect and save for future retirees. And this will be for fiscal years ending June 30th, 2022 and June 30th, 2023. So materials attached and supporting documents are the service agreement that was provided by the Howard E. Nyhart Company, which is essentially the same contract that was approved 2 years ago. The only difference is there is a bit of an increase of $250 per contract year to perform the services. So it'll be a full valuation this year, and then at the conclusion of fiscal year 2023, it'll be an interim valuation. So we're asking you tonight to either approve or not approve the service agreement, and to allow the Howard E. Nyhart Company to provide the actuarial services, I got it that time, for the City of South Lyon for the fiscal years ending June 30th, 2022 and June 30th, 2023. And I can answer any questions anyone has about why we do this or the contract itself.
Thank you. Councilmember Kurtzwell, go ahead.
I'd like to move to approve the service agreement by the Howard E. Nyhart Company, Inc., to provide GASB 75 actuarial services for the City of South Lyon for fiscal years ending June 30th, 2022 and June 30th, 2023.
I'll second.
Motion by Councilmember Kurtzwell, supported by Councilmember Kennedy. Do we have any further discussion? City Clerk Deaton, could you please lead us in a roll call vote?
Kibble?
Yes.
Moser?
Yes.
Dill?
Yes.
Kurzweil?
Yes.
Hanson?
Yes.
Kennedy?
Yes.
Felchat?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Motion passes. New business number 2 this evening, WOW Cable Video Franchise Agreement.
Our city attorney and I have reviewed the Uniform Video Services Local Franchise Agreement with the City of South Lyon we received from WOW. This is a boilerplate agreement issued by the state of Michigan. Local government franchising entities have no authority to modify them. Under state law, if the city fails to take action to approve the franchise, it is automatically deemed approved. That said, WOW sent the agreement with a couple of blanks for the city to fill in for the franchise fee and for the PEG fee. Under state law, the city cannot charge WOW any more than it charges any other cable operator with franchises in the city. The city's current franchise fees with WOW or other cable providers with franchises in the city is 5%, so that number was inserted in the first blank in section V1A. The second current PEG fee with other cable providers is 0, so that number was inserted in the second set of blanks within V111. Materials attached is Uniform Video Services Local Franchise Agreement that the City of South Lyon received from WOW. Possible course of actions are approve or not approve the Uniform Video Services Local Franchise Agreement.
Councilmember Kibble?
That language is very bizarre to me, the notion that if we don't agree with it, we're forced to agree with it. I mean, what is the point of all this? Why isn't it just boilerplate and you just say, okay, next item?
Still the ability for the public and for the local units of government to set what those percentages are. They could potentially change, but it's an approval process that still should come before the local governing body.
That's all right. Thanks.
Councilmember Kennedy, go ahead.
I'll make the motion to approve the Uniform Video Services Local Franchise Agreement with WOW.
I'll support.
We have a motion by Councilmember Kennedy, supported by Councilmember Dill. Do we have any further discussion? City Clerk Deaton, could you please lead us in a roll call vote?
Hanson?
Yes.
Kurzweil?
Yes.
Dill?
Yes.
Kibble?
Sure.
Moser?
Yes.
Kennedy?
Yes.
Felchat?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Motion passes. Move on to the budget this evening. Do we have anything to add to the budget? Councilmember Hanson.
Quick question regarding the budget and the ARPA money. I was having a conversation with a supervisor of a local township that borders us, and they had commented that if the municipality is less than I believe it was $10 million that they were receiving from ARPA, that the money that they were receiving could be put into the general fund. If you want to build upon that direction?
Yes, that came out with the most recent guidance that we've received. So that is one of our options that we're planning to report back to you in the next month at a council meeting, that for the non-entitlement units such as ourselves, which receive funding less than $10 million, we have an option to utilize those services. Now, we still have to obviously provide breakdown of how those expenditures are used, and they still have to be within certain uniform guidance, but there's a lot more flexibility within the general fund. And so that will open up some more opportunities for us to be able to use those dollars in the community.
So if I'm understanding you correctly, we no longer have to use the ARPA money potentially for those categories that we discussed in the budgetary meetings.
It's still the same categories, it's just more flexibility within the general fund. So not forced into, potentially spending money on testing or other, direct COVID related. This would help us with projects that weren't able to be done in the last couple of years because resources were funneled in other directions, or we had less staffing, or materials weren't available.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Councilmember Kurtzwell, go ahead.
I don't know if this is a good argument, a bad argument, but I'm just going to try to make the argument. The argument is that we diverted resources that could have been used to develop the park down there on Pontiac Trail in McCaddy that we just received the grant for. We diverted funds that could have gone to that in order to take care of issues in City Hall and everything COVID related. Can we now use some of those funds, if they're coming into the general fund, to support development of that park, which now could be used as a respite for those individuals during periods of COVID to get them outside, provide them with outdoor places to be with their families rather than enclosed, because that little park could be used as a potential meeting place for people rather than having committees come here at the city in a closed environment. Let's say, for example, the Historical Commission could come and meet, or the Cultural Arts Commission could come and meet now in a park over there that's outside. Can the argument be made that we could use some of those funds for further development of that area?
Yes, and that's one of the things that really opened up since the changes were made in the last month. So yes, that they're saying that more of those type of projects are being encouraged within the communities. And so I think we're going to see more municipalities our size kind of jump onto those type of activities.
Thank you.
Councilmember Kittle, go ahead.
Are we still going to be set in a position to reflect on other people that have already proved out some of that stuff?
Yes,
So we don't end up making a misstep and...
Yes, I'm just starting to get report data back from other municipalities that have spent dollars. Some of them have spent all their funds, some of the smaller communities, obviously, some of the larger communities that have started projects and maybe spent $250,000 or a few $100,000. And so I want to, give you guys some examples of how other communities have used them, and they've pretty much, been given the green light so far by Treasury. So we're headed in the right direction, and don't make any missteps.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you. At this time, we'll open the floor for public comment. Please remember to state your name and address, and remember our 2-minute time limit. All right, we will close the floor for public comment. We'll move on to the manager's report with City Manager Zelnick.
As was reported recently, we will be bringing back the SRO agreement with the South Lyon schools at a future council meeting. I've also talked to you in the past about the construction update for City Hall. They're waiting for delivery of some roofing materials before they do in fact start that project. The Pontiac Trail Pathway Project is still moving forward, and that's based upon estimates provided by the engineer for the township. We'll be bringing that back before council at our next meeting based upon the bids that came in that changed from council's prior approval. The water tank installation and parking, I reported in here regarding adding some additional parking in the grassy area that's on the south side of Dorothy Street near the water tank. We met with the contractors today going over the final items related to the water tank project, and we expect to bring those items before council very soon as well. The concerts in the park and movies in the park, I've included within your packet a listing of all the concerts. This year we've had staff, specifically Carol Branding, working very hard to try to get sponsorships. This year's we've received $3,500 in sponsorships for our concerts. That's the first time we've ever had that, and it worked out very well. Thankful to Hubbell, Roth & Clark, Safe Built, as well as CAB, our planners, for contributing towards that. And I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Councilmember Kennedy.
So, Paul, as we heard from Judy Keeling tonight, there's a question whether or not the landscaper still has it on his horizon to maintain the gardens at the Veterans Memorial. So, understand we're going to have a meeting here in the next day or so. We might be able to rectify that. We also had discussions last year. We had another landscaping company reach out. They offered at that time to take care of the landscaping for the entrance signs coming into the city from the Four Corners. Now, I realize, and I defer to Councilmember Kurzweil as the master gardener here, it might be too early for the flowers and the rest of that, but it might behoove us to just make a phone call, touch base with those entities to make sure that they're still planning to do that and not find ourselves lacking a few weeks from now. So if you could reach out and just make sure that that's still on their horizon, that would be great. Thank you.
Councilmember Kurzweil.
Thank you. Paul, I had sent you a message regarding a smell that was coming from the cement factory. Actually, it was a posting on a social media platform. And I was just wondering, can you provide an update on what you found out?
Yeah, we had our inspectors go over there and take a look, and that's from the building department. It went to the site and had talked with the contractors over there, and that smell is a process in limestone that was actually delivered, and it did in fact go away after we had the heavy rains, but it is that process, and it is that smell that comes with limestone when it's excavated from underground. It has a certain smell. Sometimes it does in fact smell like fuel oil. They knew it right away when they went over there. They knew exactly what it was. They talked with the contractor over there, and it was in fact that. So I trust them in their decision.
So how long does that smell last? I mean, is it when the limestone is dumped off?
It was after it's extracted from the ground and it's dumped off right away. That's immediate smell that they have. We've never had any calls like that within the past. This is the first time we've ever had something like that, but it did not last very long, and they did in fact, find that out with the analysis.
So it's a temporary sort of...
That's correct.
Smell. Is there any way that wall, because I went over there and took a look, is there any way that wall can be built up a little bit more and block some of that smell? Would that help, or?
I don't know. With the prevailing westerly winds, it should actually go the opposite direction, but they'd have to re-excavate that whole wall and start that, from the bottom. Our ordinance officer had talked to them in the past regarding some maintenance of that wall because of the concrete did in fact crack on top of it, but that wall is still holding steady, but they would have to completely redo the footings and completely rebuild that wall, in fact, to build it higher. And then the question is how safe is something like that if in fact you do build it higher?
How often did they ask that the limestone gets, is that a weekly, or is that something that just happens once a month?
I don't know that, but that's the first time that contractor has been operating there for years, and that's the first time we've ever had that call regarding the fuel oil smell.
Well, that cement factory was bought out about a year ago. So it used to be Hornet, and now it's Patriot. I think there was a gentleman out of Tennessee that came up north and purchased a lot of small little cement factories. So I think this was one of the purchase. So I wonder, is limestone always used in cement, or is this a new component that is being used in their processing over there?
It is used within their process, and I can't say what mixture or how that is. I'm not an expert on that, but it is in fact used with it.
Okay. All right. Next, did you have an opportunity to follow up on when we would get an additional table over at Paul Baker Park?
Yeah, Jeff Archie, DPW, has ordered one for that location. We went out to, survey the grounds, and I know they've made some minor improvements there. Matter of fact, there this past week and delivery of mulch on the site, and that we found a location where it's deemed appropriate.
Okay, perfect. And what about an additional waste basket over there?
I talked to them about that also, because we had some other requests for other waste baskets.
Yeah.
We had some liners that were cracked, and we're waiting for those to get delivered before we put additional ones out as well.
I mean, because that's part of what I do down in Paul Baker Park is pick up trash when I'm down there, and there's a lot of it. So it would be nice if there was a trash container down there that the public could use, because there's one over by the table that's over on the East Liberty side, but it would be nice to get another one up where the fountain is, because that's where a lot of the bike riders are. In fact, over the weekend, Paul Baker Park had a lot of people in it, so that'd be great. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Councilmember Dill.
Thank you. I would just thought of this. I know we've talked about it before, but on the path where the wall is that the people draw on, that one, I cannot remember what the company is, but that wall that I know that you said it's structurally not falling, but I see kids climb up on there and play in that area where there's cement that is cracked and there's gaps in it. And it's really concerning to me, and it just looks dangerous. Is there anyone that can look at this and see if it's something that they should be roping off or doing something so kids can't get in there? It's just a really dangerous area.
And that's what I mentioned regarding our ordinance officer, Mark Carlson, has talked to him about that area.
And do they...
I'm not sure what extent that the conversations were, but we did mention because the concrete was cracking on top and you could see the sand, it was still structurally sound, but just covering that area. Obviously, we can't stop people from crawling on there, but
Right.
hopefully, if this is in fact a new contractor or a new person that has actually purchased that, maybe they'll be able to follow up and clean up some of that area.
Councilmember Hanson.
Do we have a ETA as far as the EV chargers install? Is that happening this summer, or?
Maybe Nate can give an update on that, about the chargers.
So yeah, we are waiting to get back the final drawings for the installation. So once that comes back, then we'll be able to get those installed. So I'm hoping soon, because I asked for them to be done a while ago. So I'll follow up this week and see where we're at with those.
You let me know. I'll be the first one to plug in.
All right, sounds good.
Sounds like a photo op.
Yeah.
Anyone else have anything for the city manager this evening? We'll move on to council comments this evening. Councilmember Kennedy, why don't you kick us off?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Tonight, I just want to congratulate the Salem South Lyon District Library on their ribbon cutting and dedication of their new pavilion. The pavilion was funded by the Friends of the Salem South Lyon District Library through their book room sales and other fundraising events, so keep those book donations coming to the library. Next, I want to remind everyone that on Wednesday, May 25th, the Lake Street Cruise-In will host its first car show for this year, beginning at 6:30. So make plans now to come downtown to see some great classic cars, visit with your friends and neighbors, and visit the local restaurants. And finally, just a reminder that there will be a free book exchange at the Freight House in the Historic Village on Saturday and Sunday, June 3rd and 4th. You can drop off your books on Friday from 3 to 8 p.m. and Saturday morning from 9 to 11, and then circle back on Saturday from 10 to 4 and Sunday from 12 until 3 and pick up some new reading material. That's all I had, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councilmember Kennedy. Councilmember Kurtzwell.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would just like to remind everybody that the Arts and Education Show featuring juried art from South Lyon High School and South Lyon East, which you see displayed throughout the town, has been extended to July 9th by popular demand. So apparently there are a lot of parents that have relatives that are going to be coming into town during the month of June, and for graduations, et cetera, and events. And they really would like to be able to take their families down throughout the town and to see this incredible art. The response apparently has just been absolutely unbelievable. So please get out there and enjoy this great work by our high school students in South Lyon. Next, as to the Lake Street Cruise-In, every year, I like to promote the sponsors that are supporting this event and making downtown an attractive area to visit during one Wednesday a month. I'd like to thank Quicksilver Marketing Solutions, Vanguard Motor Sales, Sellers Buick GMC, and Bell's Landscape Services tonight for investing in the city of South Lyon. Thank you so much, and I'll be thanking you personally on Wednesday. Next, we still need election inspectors, so anybody who is interested in working in election, please contact our city clerk. This is a paying position. I can't think of a more wonderful way to be able to serve your community than to work on an election. I've been very, very much involved in election integrity issues throughout the past year and a half since 2020, but I will tell you that the city of South Lyon did run absolutely an excellent election. Excellent election. So voters here in South Lyon, you don't need to worry about election integrity, but that doesn't mean that you need to sit back either. So get involved in your community. Please get involved. And last, I would like to thank Judy Keeling for her work that she's been doing over at the Veterans Memorial. Thank you for taking time out of your day to respect that memorial by making it look pleasant and going in and doing what you do. Thank you so much. And I also want to thank Larry and Craig and Dana and Ryan for also providing those American flags that we are so proud of, that we are part of this country and represent our great amendments that we have in our Constitution, First Amendment, all the protections, including our Second Amendment. So thank you so much, gentlemen, for what you've done. And please remember that Memorial Day is not about the Memorial Day sales at the big stores. It's about honoring the brave men and women who died while serving in the U.S. military. Enjoy your Memorial Weekend, but please take a moment to think and say a prayer for those service members who are no longer with us. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councilmember Kurtzwell. Councilmember Mosier.
I don't really have anything this week. Good, thank you.
Councilmember Hanson.
I wanted to congratulate the Salem South Lyon Library on their ribbon cutting ceremony for the Friends Pavilion. I was able to attend the ceremony. It was a great celebration of the expansion of the library, new facilities, and also celebration of the volunteers and organizations that have helped the library build upon what they already had. Many volunteers were celebrated, especially with the extensive volunteer hours and input that they've had in the library. I wanted to recognize Jennifer Redfern. She was recognized as Person of the Year, and Vibe Credit Union as the Organization of the Year that contributed to the library. I also wanted to say that the Library Pavilion is still accepting donations. If you wanted to buy a patio stone to contribute to the library space, that'd be excellent. I was approached by a library individual that actually commented about how Telecom Credit Union, previously Vibe Credit Union, literally over 50 years ago, had bought a patio stone that still rests in the garden at the front of the library. And it was so great to hear about the history and about how strong the community input into the library and contributions are. So wanted to just bring that up and congratulate the library on all these years and the continued expansion. So thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Kibble.
I'd like to start off with thanking Gene for his time with the DDA. That was an awful lot of a lot of stuff had taken place during the course of his being on that board, and I think they'll miss them. It was really nice to be at the park last night for the opening of the park, or Music in the Park. Happened to be with the high school jazz. That was very cool. Seeing a bunch of kids that are just letting her fly. It was real nice. There was some technical difficulties, but it was a beautiful night, and everybody seemed to enjoy themselves. It was nice to see the fountain open over at Baker Park. My grandson and I, actually the whole family, we typically go on walks in the evening, and that's one of their big favorite things to end up walking up to. So seeing that, I mean, we're questioned, why isn't it running? Why isn't it running? So finally, when it was going, they were giddy. So that was helpful. That's really all I've got. Thank you, though.
Thank you. Councilmember Dell.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to point out, I got my voter registration card in the mail, and everybody should pay attention to this if you don't normally pay attention to it, because everything is different from redistricting. So pay attention to who is running for different, our congressional one has changed to 7, it was 11 before, so just make sure you pay attention to that, know where you're supposed to vote, and hang on to this so you remember it in August and November. Same with Councilmember Kurzweil. I want to thank Judy for her work, and Ryan and Larry and Dana and everyone else for getting the flags up. Really appreciate that kind of volunteer effort in the community. And I wanted to say that I'm really, really excited about the return of the Christmas and South Lyon Eve with Carl and Joanne, with Heinen is putting on, and the addition of the Christmas in July. I think those are really great events. Bring a lot of people out, a lot of fun, and I think that it's just really a breath of fresh air for us all getting back to normal again. So I think that's all. Thank you.
Thank you. I just want to touch on the Memorial Day Parade. It's, if you've never been, it's you can't go to the event and not have an incredible amount of pride. And so whether you can make the parade or you make the ceremony over in the cemetery, I would highly encourage everyone to get out there if you can, especially if you've never been a part of it. It is a very great day to be an American. So hopefully we'll see everyone out there. It looks like the weather's going to be good. Now, if we could just get a decent Wednesday around here, that'd be fantastic. So, sorry, softball's been canceled for like a month, and car show's not looking good either, guys. So, but really quick, two of my favorites are retiring from South Lyon Community Schools this year, and they're both incredible people that actually have the same job, media center specialist and librarian. And when you are growing up, usually the librarian and the media center specialist is the first person that you really meet in your life that there's consequences for your actions on not returning books, or in the world we live in today, leaving your laptop charger at home. And Gail Joslin at South Lyon East and Nancy Pantaleo at Millennium Middle School are just two of the finest people that can give you the tough love when you need it at that age group. So congratulations to those two. We'll miss you, and we'll see everyone out at the Memorial Day Parade. With that, I'll look for a motion to adjourn. Councilmember Kurzweil.
Move to adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.
Have a great night.